Hello, everyone. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Walker. It is my pleasure as always. Hey, in case you haven't noticed, we have a new logo. We have a new look. Our rebrand is officially completed, shall we say. So we're going to go ahead and call this the start of season 2. The Back of the Pack podcast, season 2 is where we're going to start right now. So we're going to start off with a huge thank you to our guest, Dave Borchard from the Kansas City Sports Commission, who came on the show last week to talk about everything last minute for the Garmin Kansas City Marathon that was held this past Saturday down in front of the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art down in beautiful Kansas City, Missouri. I know most of you who are listening to this show were there. Many of you. I was there as well. So I'm rocking the finisher shirt today, which, man, with this camera and this lighting, this is like a super blue shirt. I don't know. It's kind of pretty. I like it. But anyway, I think everyone had a great time. About the race, first and foremost, there were many first-time marathon finishers who finished that race, and a huge congratulations to all of you. But to Chris with a C, Chris with a K, and then our buddy Lonnie, those 3 first-timers, congratulations, you 3. You guys rocked it. Did a great job. Huge congratulations on now joining the fun 1% of the world who has completed a full marathon. You will now and forever be official marathon finishers, and that is huge. We also had some friends last week in Des Moines also complete their first marathon. So Amanda, good job to you. Great job to everyone, man. It was a great day. Almost perfect weather for a marathon. It was about perfect for a half marathon. Now I did the half, so about the time that I started to finish the race, it was starting to get a little toasty. It was getting a little warm out there. It's been a little unseasonably warm here in Kansas City. It was getting, I don't know. It felt warmer than it was. It was creeping up towards 70 degrees when I finished. Probably a little over 70 degrees when everyone else was coming across the finish line. As I sit here right now, a couple of days after, we're at 80 degrees. So again, for late October, we're unseasonably warm, but it does look like a cool down is on the way. So hooray for us. But the day was great. So to our buddy Dave, who is in charge of all Garmin Kansas City Marathon, great job. I had a great morning. The Finish Line Festival was excellent. The expo was excellent. You guys will laugh at me. I actually took a little video camera holder looking thing and I went down to Union Station and I was going to try and film different aspects of the expo. And then I was going to kind of interweave them into this very episode. So I went and I filmed this intro in front of Union Station. It was a beautiful day and it was, good intro. And I go inside and I'm ready to go in. So I turn it off just to go into the expo. Then I never turned it back on. So rather than just weave in the introduction of what I was going to try and do, I'm just going to leave it all out. And you know what? I'll try again next time. I'll try from this point on to, maybe record some stuff at races and then put it here in the episode that you guys can see it. If you're watching on, well, we're gonna get to the YouTube situation here in a minute, but whatever we're watching on right now, it's Facebook. If you are hearing this and you want to see the video, we're going to start posting every video also on Facebook. So if you are a Facebook follower, you can watch along. So of course you can listen to it, listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcast, or watch along on Facebook. The YouTube situation will be resolved soon-ish. So that's it for the Kansas City Marathon. Another year in the books. Next year, I am sure we will be back. I hope that next year we will also be able to get our booth again. 2 years ago, well, no, I guess it was just a year ago, we had a Back of the Pack podcast table at the expo. Met a lot of you there, which was awesome. That was super fun. Weren't able to do it this year. The people who were our sponsors last year, again, times are tough right now, as we've gone over before. They were not able to contribute financially to put the table back up. So we couldn't do it this year. Hopefully next year we can find a sponsor and we can get back to the expo because it was a lot of fun. It was great to meet people. So that is really it. I hope everyone did well. I hope you guys really enjoyed your race. Next up for us, next weekend, we are going to the Energy City Half Marathon in Midland, Texas. Myself and Cody are going to head down there and we're going to see what this new race is about. Not new to them, new to us, coming down from Kansas City down to Midland, Texas. We'll just have to see what they got. I'm excited. I'm super excited. We're going to be leaving on Friday before the rooster crows, as they say, and we'll be down in Midland. We will, go to the expo or pack a pickup or whatever they might have, grab some pasta, run the race the next day, and then drive back home. So it's going to be a real quick trip down to Midland, but it'll be fun to run a new race in a new city. I've never been to Midland, Texas before, been over to Dallas, but not to Midland. And so I'm expecting a really fun time. And then next week's episode is going to be post half marathon in the car driving home, probably two slap happy runners in Cody and I who are going to just turn the phone on and hit record. And that's going to be next week's episode. So tune in for that because it's liable to be interesting. We'll just say that it's going to be interesting. I actually expect it's going to be a lot of fun. You get two runners in a car talking about running. And I mean, assuming you like listening to running stuff, which is why you're listening right now, then you will probably enjoy next week's episode. Okay. So as we've said, this is season 2, episode 1. You will notice that we have had to rebrand in certain areas. Now, the Back of the Pack podcast, the name of this podcast that pertains to so many of us who listen to it, not everyone, because we certainly have our front of the pack people and our middle of the pack people from anywhere that you are from start to finish. You guys are awesome. This is really just a running podcast that needed a fun name. We are keeping the name. The name is not changing. We are the Back of the Pack podcast. What we have had to change, though, is all of our graphics and logos. So you will notice that with this episode, we have a new logo. You will probably notice from earlier in the day that we have new graphics for Metal Monday. You're going to see other graphics as they get released. I am not going to bury anyone here. Yes, there was a separation between our former production company and the podcast. It was not great, not super fun, not 100% resolved, which actually kind of sucks. The only thing I'm still trying to get a hold of is our domain names, which I don't have yet. But when it launches on November 1st, we do have the domain right now of www.botp, back of the pack, botppod.com. So botppod.com. That will be our new website. I hope we can get the other domains and I can just link everything together, make it all easy. Haven't been able to pull that off yet, but that is my hope. Now, the YouTube channel, we lost it. We did not get the YouTube channel in the divorce. Apparently, for reasons beyond my control, the access, the authority was not granted to me to keep a hold of that YouTube channel. So to all the subscribers of that channel, and look, there wasn't a whole lot. Like there is, I think we're right around 40. But again, it hadn't been going very long. So to the 40 subscribers of the YouTube channel, I apologize. I cannot get control of that. We've lost the YouTube channel. We will have another one. Here's the problem. I had to start a new Google account because the account being used for YouTube was from our former production company. I had to start a new one for, Kyle at botppod.com. They won't let you start a YouTube channel off something new for 30 days. Who would have thought that Google would have all these rules? So I think I can start the YouTube channel right at the beginning of November. We're getting towards the end of this dumb little grace period that they have. But as soon as we get the new channel launched, we will get it out there. And I hope everyone will subscribe. I hope that I don't lose too many of my wonderful viewers by having to switch channels over. Yes, huge hassle, really silly, but we're going to have to make this work. Now, by way of where you get your podcast, whether that be iHeartRadio, Podcast Nation, I think is one, iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, that will not change. You'll see the new logo, but the show is not going anywhere. All the old episodes are going to be there. And so nothing will really change where you get your podcast. So really, it's the newer video features that we're having to move around. We're adding it to Facebook, and then we have to switch to YouTube channel. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not terrible. And then, of course, new website. Hopefully, I can get the old website. I don't hold out a lot of hope for that. So that's where we're at. Thankfully, the new production company that we're using is probably going to work with me a little better because the graphic designer who is doing all the work on the designs and the website is you will know her as Mrs. Back of the Pack Podcast. So if Mrs. Back of the Pack Podcast somehow gets miffed with me and that situation ends, well, then I have a whole lot bigger issues than just a logo and a website, right? So we are keeping everything in-house. Everything has now been consolidated to in-house work. I'm going to move this cord as it's already driving me crazy. I don't know what it's doing for you guys. There we go. So with it in-house, thankfully, things will run smoothly. I'm not asking anyone else to do anything. I'm not on anyone else's schedule. I have taken over all the editing and all the producing of this podcast. Mrs. Back of the Pack podcast has taken over all graphic design and website work. We are going to launch the new website, like I said, on November 1st. So I hope you guys will go check it out. I have seen where it's at right now. It looks amazing. Again, with the new logo and the new change in branding, it gives us a chance to really kind of expand. We're not married to one scheme or one color. We're using pretty much all the colors of the rainbow if you've seen the new logo. So nothing is off limits. So I've already ordered a ton of new shirts to try and get some new Back of the Pack gear out there into the world. I did run the Garmin Kansas City Half Marathon in nothing but just a blue shirt and shorts. It was really weird. People were giving me a hard time, but it was strange. Like, I have worn podcast gear for over a year and a half at every race. So to just show up there in this Joe Schmo average blue t-shirt, I mean, what is this? This is beneath me. I'm totally kidding at this point, but it was strange. And people did absolutely give me a hard time, Cody and Terry. But yeah, that was different. So pretty soon we're going to have some shirts and we're going to be able to, be identified at the race. And then we're coming up with ways. We are researching ways that we're going to get shirts out to everyone else, which I'm excited about. I'm excited with the ideas we're coming up with. So one of the good things, well, I mean, this is either going to be a good thing or a bad thing with the break from the former production company and with it all being in-house now, there's not really anyone to tell me no. Now, Mrs. Back of the Pack podcast certainly has thoughts and opinions, and she might tinker with my ideas some, but she hasn't really much told me no. So as where I got a lot of things rejected previously, I am free to do all that I want to do right now. And what I want to do is dominate the entire podcast universe. Okay, yeah, that's what I'd like to do. That's not going to happen. I am not Travis and Jason Kelsey doing a football podcast with the backing of Taylor Swift. Now, if Tay-Tay wants to give this podcast, even this much love, then suddenly we're, huge across the entire world. But that's probably not going to happen. But to all of you wonderful people who are sticking with us, and I know a lot of people have asked what happened with the former production company and with the new thing. And again, thank you. I really appreciate the concern. Not what I wanted, not how I saw this going, but we're adapting, we're changing, we're rebranding, and we're going to come at this even harder and even better. And I'm excited. I'm really super excited for what is coming in the future. And I hope you guys are too, because rebranding is kind of a way to start fresh. It really is. Like, in as much as I've loved everything that we've done over the last year and a half, and I do, and trust me, when the new YouTube channel comes up, I'm going to take it slow. I am going to try and get everything in order. And I'm going to put out there every episode that we've done previously. And again, I know that they're going to mention things that we don't do anymore and people we don't work with anymore. I don't care, because this podcast at episode 83 or 84, I think we're at episode 83 today. I think that's what we're at. But season 2, episode 1 now. See, we're starting number 1. But overall, we're around 83. We are really starting to come up with like this, not tooting our horn here, but a kind of a rich history of running in the Kansas City area and around the world, because we've talked about running from Chicago marathons to New York marathons to Boston marathons to Berlin marathons to races, dream races to weird races. We've talked about all these things, and so we've really got this kind of cool history of the running world over the last year and a half, and I don't want to lose that, and we're not going to lose that. So I'm going to take all that, and I'm going to just slowly, and trust me, it's a freaking effort, man, to take just a podcast and move it over to YouTube. It is not just drag and drop, because the formats are different. You have to reformat everything and reload it to YouTube, and just technology being where it is today, it's not super fast, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it one at a time, one episode at a time. We are going to get all the old episodes up on YouTube so that you can go through everything. They're all going to be marked and labeled and dated correctly. And, I know most of the early podcasts were all audio, so there won't be video, but I can work in graphics. I can tell you, the website name, or, I might put in little Easter eggs along the episode and just type something in that you'll see on the screen. if you're going through it on YouTube, just to, kind of keep it interesting as you're going through an old episode. So I am really excited about everything that's coming up. We're going to have our own merchandise store. We're going to have a brand new shiny website where we've got new logos. And again, just kind of a renewed sense of purpose, because now it is completely in-house. There's no one outside that can affect what we're doing. This is my thing. And Mrs. Back of the Pack podcast is the creative, artistic type. And thank goodness for that, because I am not. She's going to handle that. I'm going to handle this part. And the Back of the Packettes, they want to help as they can. So you'll see the ways that they contribute whenever we can figure those out. And it's going to be great. So like I said, rebranding. Rebranding is, it's important. It's a really, I think it's an important thing. And I think it's going to do wonders for this podcast, as for whatever reason, now I have the hiccups because I'm sucking in all this oxygen as I'm talking. But did you know, because this is a running podcast, how can you change yourself as a runner? Can you rebrand as a runner? Can you? I'm asking. I don't hear your response. Yes, of course you can. You can absolutely rebrand as a runner. I found a fascinating article about that. Haha, go figure. And this is written by an ultra runner. And ultra runners, you guys are crazy. Let's see. Where is? Oh, I had her name right there in front of me. Let's see. Nicole Link, I think is her name. Ultra runner, kettlebell enthusiast, science geek, and poetry nerd. So if you are all of those things, you can probably write a pretty entertaining article. So this is going to come from her point of view, and credit to her. This is a good article, but this is about rebranding yourself as a runner and your self-image as a runner, and if that is important, which of course it is. So did you know that your self-image plays a vital role in your ability to achieve any goal you set for yourself? You can do all the goal-setting exercises use the SMART process for goal setting, and apply positive thinking strategies, but without a positive self-image, you will need a tremendous amount of willpower to make meaningful progress. So what is that? What the heck is self-image? And what does that have to do with your running abilities? Well, we're going to go through it. So what is self-image? Let's see here. She's talking about, she is now referencing a doctor. I'm not going to go through all of his stuff. Dr. Maltz was a plastic surgeon in the 1930s and 40s, and one of the first practicing doctors in this then new field of plastic surgery. During his work as a doctor, he discovered that changing his clients' faces impacted not only their visual appearance, but also their psyche. For some of his clients, the surgery brought improved self-confidence and more positive outlook on life. However, others insisted that nothing had changed after the surgery. Even though the surgery was successful and their outward appearance objectively changed, they would still feel self-conscious. They insisted that they could not see any difference. His experience with his patients led Dr. Maltz to conclude that each of us possesses a self-image. This self-image is a view of ourselves that determines how we see ourselves and is independent of objective reality. It is our concept of who we are. This concept about ourselves has been shaped through our life experiences and is a primarily subconscious belief system. See, this stuff is already ringing true. I bet you guys are like, "Ooh, yeah, this all hits right." The critical thing to understand is that our feelings, actions, and behaviors are almost always consistent with that self-image. This is why some patients who had their physical looks restored after the accident regained their self-confidence, because their outer look was in line again with their self-image. For those, however, who have always been self-conscious and had a poor self-image, nothing changed after the surgery. So if you, I don't need to break down what she just said, even though I feel like I kind of stumbled through the last part of that. There's a lot of words. But yeah, if you have a bad self-image or a bad view of yourself, it doesn't matter what you physically look like on the outside. It doesn't matter if you have reconstructive surgery, or if you get those calf implants, or if you get the nice boobicles. If you don't feel good about yourself, nothing's going to change. And again, this is my opinion. You guys can tell me I'm wrong. Shoot, I don't know. But you have to have a pretty good view of yourself before any kind of outer change is going to resonate. My humble opinion. So now, what does this have to do with running and becoming a better runner? And she says, simple. We can expand this concept to our running self. Just like you identify as a parent, employee, or business owner, you can also see yourself as a runner. Is it easy to see what a mental shift from someone who runs to being a runner can mean? If you identify yourself as a runner, you make lifestyle choices that support your running. You pay attention to nutrition, rest, and recovery. And of course, you'd complete your workouts with purpose. And once you start to set goals for your running pursuance, you can reprogram your self-image for easier goal achievement. This doesn't matter if it means finishing your first 10K race, running a marathon in under 3 hours, or completing your first ultra marathon. So here is a 3-step process you can follow to reprogram the image you have of your running self. So number one, step one, whatever you want to call it, create your ideal running self. Write down a running goal you want to focus on. For example, your goal could be to run your first marathon in under 4 hours. Write this on a sheet of paper. Now list all the character traits you think someone capable of achieving this goal possesses. And no, you don't have to just be Kenyan. I added that. Next, I want you to note all the actions this person would take daily and weekly. How would someone who can accomplish this goal go about their day? For example, your list could include, this person would run 4 to 5 times a week. This person would pre-cook their meals on the weekend to always have a healthy dinners when they come home from a long workday. This person would make time to see a running coach to work on their technique. This person would run with focus and good form. This person goes running even when they don't feel like it or when the weather isn't quite perfect. Okay, so step 2, create a mental movie like a motion picture, a film, if you will. Once you have a list of character traits and actions, write out a movie script where you see yourself performing said actions and inhibiting those character traits. For example, a paragraph of your movie script could read like this. I get up before sunrise. Oh, wait, sorry, this isn't that kind of a movie. I get up before sunrise so that I can get a run in before my workday starts. As I brew a cup of coffee, I give thanks that I get to run in a few minutes and start the day with an hour of solitude and time for myself. While drinking my coffee, I put on my running clothes that I laid out the night before. I head out with a clear goal for this run and focus. Let me start that again. I head out with a clear goal for this run and focus my attention on my body. I run with good form, relaxed and self-confident. I easily enter a flow state and enjoy the fresh air, the sounds of the early morning, and the sounds of my footsteps on the ground. I finish my run happy, knowing that I already achieved something that matters to me. I cool down, stretch, and have a relaxing hot shower. Then it's breakfast time, and I enjoy a healthy meal that refuels my body and helps with my recovery. So step 3, watch your mental movie daily. Once you have a movie script, you will practice watching it daily. You are changing your subconscious beliefs about yourself and your identity as a runner by doing this. According to Dr. Maltz, your nervous system cannot tell the difference between an actual experience and an experience imagined vividly and in detail. That means by regularly picturing yourself as a confident and successful runner in your mind's eye, you program yourself to act as your ideal running self in real life. Over time, your behavior in this outer world will reflect the behavior of your ideal inner world. However, as with any aspect of your training plan, consistency is key. Set aside at least 10 minutes per day where you can be uninterrupted. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and imagine yourself being in a cinema. Try to see the curtains, the chairs, the smell of the popcorn and the cola. Find your favorite seat and make yourself comfortable. Then start the movie. Put yourself on the screen and see yourself acting like your ideal running self. See how you overcome challenges during training runs and how you push yourself to be the best when you hit a tough spot during a race. See yourself performing every action with focus and confidence. It is best to play your mental movie at night before going to sleep. This is because you want your subconscious to go to work and help you achieve the goals you set for yourself. And the subconscious needs relaxation to work well. The best creatives have known this and use sleep, going for a walk, and other forms of relaxation for generating ideas or solutions to problems they have been working on. The evening is perfect for viewing your mental movie, as your subconscious has several hours of sleep to work with your goals. As Thomas Edison said, never go to sleep without a request to your subconscious. I did not know he said that. And look, this makes sense. I want to back up. And this is just sidebar here. The subconscious needs relaxation to work. The best creatives have known to use sleep, going for a walk, and other forms of relaxation for generating ideas or solutions to the problems they had. Okay, so how many of us, while on a run, have done this? I do this. Now, see, when I'm out on a run, and I even did it at the Garmin Kansas City Marathon, when I was out on that run, and again, not many people around me, maybe I was on this long stretch where it was just me going, not a lot of crowd support, not a lot of noise. I definitely was playing this movie. And that was before I even read this article. I was already playing the movie of next weekend of what's definitely going to be a hotter race because it's Midland, Texas. They're in the 90s as of a couple days ago. But okay, I'm preparing myself for a hot race. What do I need to do to prepare myself for a hot race? Okay, clearly I need to work on hydration more this week. Okay, now I need to figure out, I put away a lot of my summer clothes because except for today's abnormal temperature, it's getting cooler. I don't need as many tank tops. Okay, I need to get some tank tops. Okay, running socks. A lot of times I like the colorful stuff, but the colorful socks are really thick. So maybe, okay, I'll get my white running socks, the real thin ones I bought a few years ago, that kind of a thing. So I was already going through next week's race. Well, I was still at a race. Well, I was still doing a half marathon, but I was playing that movie because I was in a state of quiet. I was in a state of relaxation. And I know, hard to say when you're hurting yourself doing a marathon, but I'm sure most of you get what I'm getting at here. And so I agree with this. I really agree with this, especially like going for a walk. When I'm on a walk, man, my mind is everywhere. I'm seeing movies about work. I'm seeing movies about running. I'm thinking about this podcast and ways to make it bigger and better. So I really wanted to hammer that one home because I bet a lot of you are in the same boat. But yeah, on your run, especially, I mean, if it's not a race, if it's just your morning run, I bet you are there a lot where you can do this movie technique that she's talking about. All right, final tips. Once you're using mental movies to recreate your ideal running self, listen to hunches. Oh, okay. Listen to hunches and ideas that may come to you during random times of the day. This one's big too. Act on them. It is important to stress that you still have to take action consistently towards achieving your goal. However, suppose your self-image as a runner is that of a slow, undisciplined, or self-conscious one. In that case, you will have a more challenging time achieving any ambitious running goal you set for yourself. Using mental pictures to change your self-image will make goal achievement easier and more fun. So I really like this article. I hope you guys did as well. You found, something good with it. I agree with a lot of it. I think the mental movie thing is pretty strong. I agree with that last part there, how if your self-image is bad, if you're like, okay, oh boy, how am I going to do this one? Okay. So this is, of course, the Back of the Pack podcast. But don't ever think that name was chosen negatively. Okay. While I do, and for much of my running career, identify as a back of the packer, I know I am a slower runner. I don't take this as a negative. This is not a negative. This is not a show where my negative self-image has led to a podcast. Not at all. I don't care where you are in the pack, front, middle, or back. You're still out there doing something amazing. All right. You are still out there doing something that most people don't do. That's not a negative. So I don't care if your time is super fast or if it's super slow. Your time is your time. And if you are enjoying your time, then by all means, get out there and enjoy it and do your best and have a great time with it. So please don't ever feel like this is a negative podcast. It's not. It was a self-deprecating joke, maybe, that started it, but it was a place out of love because I love running and I love where I am in my abilities. Do I want to be better? Of course I do. But where I've been and where I see myself, I never see it as a bad thing. Okay. It's not a bad thing. And so I'm going to pause for 1 second here while I look for a post. All right. This is to me. Where'd that damn post go? Tell me he took it down. There we go. Okay. So again, I please don't take this podcast as a bad thing. Because it's not. It's not bad self-image just to say you're a back of the packer. It's a celebration that you're even getting out there. And so I want you to understand that. And so the last thing I'm going to hit on today, because I saw this was a post on Facebook by the guy we're going to talk to next week. So Cody, if you make it this far in the episode, just know we're going to talk about this next week. But I saw this post that he put out there. And again, it's a little off topic, but I want to bring it in here and try and pull this in, because it does kind of speak to the self-image. People who don't actively cheer, support you on the pathway to achieving your goals are not your friends. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. Keep grinding, stay classy, and do hard things. I don't know what prompted him to post this, but I'm absolutely going to ask him. But man, I thought that was such a great idea, because with the rebranding and with the self-image, like this covers all of it, okay? And a lot of it is that self-image. So if you don't cheer or support the people doing hard things, that might say something about your self-image. If you're one of those people that always has to knock runners, that might have something to do with your self-image. If you're a runner, but you're kind of a self-loathing runner, like I'm so slow and I suck, and man, everyone's going to be done before I am. That's a self-image thing. Look at that, okay? Look at that part of self-image in the mirror about yourself, and don't hate on yourself. Who cares? You know what the last person to finish is? A finisher. You were someone who finished a race. Never forget in 2019, when I was in terrible shape, probably the worst shape of my life, and I went and did Grandma's marathon. My finish time in that marathon was well over 7 hours. They saw me coming down the finish line to the finish line, and so the workers stopped working. As soon as I crossed the finish line, they unplugged it. They unplugged it. Like I was the last official finisher, only because they saw me coming. So yeah, like that really did a lot on my self-image and like how I thought about myself. But you know what? I finished that race. Probably shouldn't have. I was in terrible shape. Didn't take training seriously for a damn. Weird part of life, but I did. I finished. So it doesn't matter if you're slow, fast, wherever you're at, as long as you start and as long as you finish, that makes you like epic, makes you an awesome runner. And to everyone like who just finished the Kansas City Marathon, I don't care if your time was 3 hours and 3 minutes, or if it was 6 hours and 5 minutes, or anywhere in between, or before or after, you finished something huge. You did great. And so please put your self-image on that, not where you finished, but that you finished. Because man, finishing anything like that, full marathon, half marathon, 5K, 10K, wherever you're at in your journey, finishing is huge. I want you to treat it as such. You can rebrand yourself now as a positive self-imaged runner. Someone who is just down for what they do, loves what they do, and is happy to do it. All right? Now, I will just slowly get off my soapbox, and that's going to do it. That'll do it for this week's episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Walker. It is my pleasure, as always. I would love likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, anything I can get. Also, it's a big deal. It's getting to be more of a big deal now on Facebook, Spotify, and iTunes to leave 5-star ratings and reviews. Always encouraged and always very appreciated if I receive them. It helps get the podcast out to more people. So if you like what we're doing, review us. If you like what we're doing, share us. If you like what we're doing, like and comment. Play along with everything that we put out there on social media. All of that gets attention from the big techs and gets us bumped up in the podcasting world. So I appreciate everything. This show is brought to you by, well, I had to go start a new thing. So it's brought to you by me, Kyle Walker Podcasting LLC. It's a thing now, baby. So it's as good as any, right? So next week, we're going to be in the car on the road trip back from the Energy City Half Marathon in Midland, Texas. So until then, have a great week of training, and we'll see you next week.